Welcome back to Naval Action, and this is the next one in my series of interviews with clans and mans who run the clans. I've got with me the scurrilous pirate dog Pagan Pete. How you doing, Pagan?
I be good. How be you?
I'm ship shape. And are you the leader, founder of Black?
I'm the founder of Captains of the Black Flag. We don't actually have a leader.
Oh, that's excellent. That's good to know. Sounds very much like the Australian government. And maybe before we get into some of the gaming things, you can give us a bit of a bio as to who you are and how you got into the gaming and all that sort of stuff. What are the games you're into?
Oh, let's see. I first started out on a Commodore 64. Flight simulators were really my favorite thing to do. I still do those. But I do the occasional first-person shooter, but I'm mostly into simulators.
And when did you get yourself into Naval Action?
I got into Naval Action because of that pesky dog, the Mighty Jingles.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, I follow his channel. He's pretty good.
And then I got into that when it was still in the sea trials. It was just ships sailing around in a circle beating on each other.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they still do the Trafalgars, don't they, every now and again? Isn't there a sort of a bit of a Saturday morning thing? Yeah. And have you always been on PvP Euro 1 since it's kicked off?
That be the server. Most of me fellows... So I'm actually in Western New York, in America, but most of me buddies and clanmates were in the European server, so it was just natural that I'd be over here with them.
And obviously you've chosen to be a dirty pirate scumbag. What drove you?
There'd be no other life.
What drove you to such a terrible decision?
Well, I'm a bit of a role player. You might have guessed by my pirate accent. But piracy is just sort of the free-form thing that I do. One of the other simulators I've played in the past, Aces the Deep and Silent Hunter. So I'm sort of big into being a U-boat commander, going out into the seas and hunting solo, and that was just sort of the natural thing for me.
Alright. So it's always good to know that a pirate aspires to be in a submarine, because I'm sure we can always help with that. And so when and how did Black form?
Black formed way back in closed alpha. We were actually the first pirate clan to register. As soon as the server came back online, I was just spamming the key to register. Had the money all saved up and just that instant did it.
And how many members do you reckon you've got?
We currently have 83.
Okay, that's pretty good. And most of them sort of active?
Most of them are very active. We've got a good sort of small group. We only like to recruit a few members per week. And that allows all the new bloods to get involved, get on the TeamSpeak, and we all get to know each other well. And that it makes us a nice, tight group of friends.
No, that's good. That's good. So, do you have an area of operation that you consider yours?
Mine, personally, would be the East Coast of the United States. I've been hunting up there for 5 months straight now.
And is your style, I have to say, I've read a few of your chitter-chatters in Global, is yours very much a solo cap and gank type of punter, or do you hunt in packs?
I often hunt solo myself, but I do hunt in packs as well when other fellows are up here. Aye.
And what's your ship for doing a bit of hunting?
My ship is the Banshee. Yeah, I name it that. You can't name your ship in Naval Action yet, but that's what I calls her. She's a privateer. She's 4 months old, never been defeated. Still has all her Dura. Very pleased with her.
Excellent.
I've humiliated more than a fair number of fifth-rate captains in that little boat.
So you're a bigger fan of the smaller ships then, it sounds.
Aye. Pirates traditionally like small, fast ships because it allowed them to catch up with prey and get away from folks who wanted to hang them.
Yeah, so I must say I've done a bit of reading for some of the ship reviews, and there was a lot of sloops and the likes used back in the day by the pirates. They didn't tend to run around in Santimissimas.
No, it's not like what you see on black sails and such.
And how does your clan work then? Do you mentioned to me before we started you don't really have a leader per se. So how does your clan work?
Well, before I formed the clan, I did a lot of research, from books in the library. I know, I'm a pirate that can read, sort of unusual. But pirates in the old days were organized along the principle of equality because they were trying to get away from the tyrannous powers that ran the world's navies and merchant fleets.
Yep.
Where the captain was in life or death command, and there were examples in history of people that got flogged to death for dropping an oar overboard. And so pirate accords were written along the lines of individual freedom and responsibility and dispersion of leadership. So the captain was in charge during battle, but the bosun was in charge the rest of the time.
Yep.
So when we made Captains of the Black Flag, we made our clan accords very similar to those old pirate rules, but modernized for MMO gaming. Like, we have a rule in there about not being a prat in chat. Not something pirates normally did.
No, well, actually, I heard they could be quite strict, the pirates, with their with what you might call a moral code.
They're very strict on their rules, but they almost never resulted to flogging because that was sort of like the symbol of oppression that they were rebelling against.
Yeah, a bit too authoritative. And so, do you guys get yourselves involved in port battles?
Not so much myself. I've actually never been in one because they don't allow privateers, the big rats. We are more of a sailing and stealing pirate clan because being in a port battle, it's kind of like being in the old closed Alpha, with the ships sailing around in a circle beating on each other.
Yeah.
When you're out stealing, you've got the thrill of the chase and the happiness of pursuit. So you go out, you chase someone down, you steal his boat, and then you run like hell from his 5 friends would come out to get you.
So, because you've got a reasonable sized clan there with 80 odd members in it. Is that pretty much how the whole clan runs? You're very much a piratey clan, or are there a few punters who enjoy going for a bit of a...
There are several of our fellas who do port battles. Some of them do port battles almost exclusively, but unfortunately they aren't available right now. It being Friday night in America and all.
And do they tend to do shallows, or a bit of everything?
A lot of them are in bigger ships, aye.
Okay, fair enough. So you're not...
first rates, second rates, and the like.
So you don't impose your own sort of pseudo role-playing on the whole clan, as it were?
No. No one is required to talk in pirate. It's just something I do.
And and do you help with... Is there any sort of crafting or sort of way the clan helps newbies get on board, or is it pretty much grab yourself a sloop and go and cap it?
We have several fellas who are either level 50 crafters or are getting there close. So when we get new fellers in, we either help steal a ship for them, or if somebody's got the hours and time available, we just build them a nice boat that they can get a feel for the game of.
Yeah.
In accordance with their level.
And how do you reckon the rest of the pirate community sees your surly mob?
We're quite well liked and respected by most of the pirate clans, and nobody gives us any grief or hunts us down or anything. We are part of what's called the Pirate Coalition, which is several of the clans got together originally to decide how not to get killed by all the nationals. And we all have a good rapport with them.
I think the pirates are having a good run of it at the moment. They've gone mad this week.
Aye.
I was having a fair old biff with a few of them last night, actually, which was good fun. And I think
oops, I broke something.
Oh, hang on a minute. I didn't need that anyway. I hated that mast.
It was getting in the way.
It was ruining the video because I really couldn't see the loveliness of your ship. And
you like this? I stole it.
Yeah. I think that's kind of the general motto of many a pirate, isn't it? Do you like this? I stole it. And so, do you have any kill tallies or videos or anything, or is it more just enjoy yourself and go for it mode?
I just enjoy myself. I'm looking to start getting into the live streaming and videoing. I just got a brand new computer, which I'm running on now. My old one was so old that you couldn't have done any of that.
That's good. Did you buy the computer, or did you go and nick it from a local retailer?
I, quote, bought it, end quote.
So, you've obviously been with Naval Action for quite a long time. What sort of stuff would you like to see specifically for pirates? Because they've really done nothing yet, I think, for pirates.
I would like to see a complete rework of the pirate mechanic.
Yeah, well, I don't think they've done the work bit, let alone the rework bit. So what would...
I think pirates should get the ability to sail under a false flag instead of, having ports and doing conquests, that you just hide in plain sight the way pirates really did. For example, in the 1715, when they sent a navy fleet down to Madagascar to deal with the pirates in the Indian Ocean, the commander of the fleet said, how am I supposed to find them? They look like merchants.
Yeah. And so, sail under a false flag now. Okay, that's just a genuine false flag. What about sort of doing mercenary type work for a nation? Because there was a fair
I suppose that could be a thing, that when two nations are at war, there were probably several pirates who went out there and took letters of marque from a particular nation.
Yeah, the Brits used them a lot against the Dutch and the Spanish, I think.
Aye.
So, what else? How would you see ports and crafting in a pirate world?
That is a tough question.
So,
without special mechanics like being able to false flag and the ability to do hidden ports, like pirates would just careen their ship on a beach and scrape the barnacles off, or steal a new one. So crafting is fun. I do it myself. I'm a level 50 crafter. But as far as actually changing the game too much, that's a really hard question, and I don't really have an answer for it.
Yeah, I think at the moment, I don't think they've done anything with pirates, if I was to be honest. I think pirates are just another nation for all intents and purposes.
Yeah. We're just a nation with a cool flag.
And, and the attraction. I mean, I've got no idea how historically pirates got themselves such good PR, given the fact that they're a bunch of pillagers, but they somehow have achieved it. So I think a lot of folks, when they come into the game, they're drawn to the black. There you go. Have one back, sir. And would...
I'll get me cabin boy to fix that.
Would you... Yeah, rubber brick on it, it'll be fine. Would you... What about sacking ports? Some sort of mechanic where if pirates capture a port, it's only held for a period of time, but there's some benefit for...
I think that's a great idea. Because that's traditionally what pirates did. They would raid a port rather than capture a port.
So it's difficult to know what they're going to do with pirates, but I think that'd be good. And one of the things the other clans I spoke to said, which I thought was quite a good idea, was that pirate crafters could mod ships. So after you've captured a ship, you could, stick some different cannon loadouts on it or whatever.
And that would be historically correct as well, because that's what pirates did with their stolen ships. They'd often cut everything off the deck, make it faster, and add extra guns.
Yeah, and
I think that'd be a good solution as opposed to pirates sailing around in victories and centesimas, which doesn't really strike me as too convincing pirate speaking.
No. And what about the changes that are coming in the near future? I mean, you personally don't do many port battles, but what do you think about things like different wind effects for different ships and the likes?
I think the wind effects is a great idea, and I'm looking forward to that a lot. I do a lot of reading on, sailing books and different types of ships and stuff, and it comes in very handy from the point of view of stealing, and I got myself out of an entire boatload of trouble the other night when I was pinned up against the shore in me surprise, and I had 3 fellas looking to hunt me down, for killing one of their mates. And I managed to get out of it because I knew how to use the wind.
That was
and if they make the wind dynamic with variable direction and wind speeds, it's just going to make the game that much more interesting for the hardcore player, I think.
I think that was the tale you regaled in Global, isn't it? That particular one.
Aye.
I seem to remember seeing that lying around somewhere. And I think the land has made a big difference in battles as far as tactics are concerned. Do you find you try and use that a bit?
Oh, absolutely. I'm using the land a lot. I'm very aware of where the wind is and whether I can use that to my advantage for hunting down a trade ship that would normally outrun me.
Yeah.
Or if the wind is going to lead me into a vulnerable situation and I want to go hunt somewhere else.
What other things, if you had the developer magic stick for a week, what would you add into the game?
Ship names.
Ship names, yeah, absolutely.
Ship names. So. The ability to put a name so it's...
And anything else?
That would make me very pleased.
Yeah, I think ship names are absolute. I've already got half a dozen names lined up for my various fleets. And what else would be a good change that perhaps we're not seeing talked about at the moment?
Oh, there has to be an overhaul of the resource system, or the hours, the labor hours, because right now it takes too much labor hours to do either crafting or making parts supplies. You can't really do both.
It's all a bit...
And I'm not sure if that's realistic or not, because you can't assign how much labor you want to go into doing your resource collection as opposed to being able to craft ships.
It's all a bit Farmville, I find, with resource hours at the moment.
Aye.
I mean, I do understand them not wanting to have someone crafting a Santa Missima, you know, just because they sit on the game for 36 hours every day.
Aye.
But, yeah, I think even if they could give you buildings that maybe gave you hours, you know, like I don't know, a slaver's yard or a sweatshop or something appropriate.
I prefer to use orphans. They're cheaper.
Orphans are good and easier to train.
Indeed.
And they eat less.
Now, one of the things they're proposing coming up is putting sailors for hire, so that when you lose them as part of the crew, you have to go back to port and hire them. I foresee terrible things resulting from that.
Yeah, I'm a bit interested. I think because we're in alpha, it's hard to know the full story, but just on the surface, that sounds a bit of a worry to me.
Aye. They did it temporarily in closed alpha, and they did it for about 3 weeks, but they took it right out again, because you'd go out, you'd steal a ship, and you had to return to port to recrew, because you were missing 20 or 30 men off your little boat, and it was a real problem. And I was very pleased when they took it out.
I also think they're talking about making that sort of like a finite national resource pool as well, which is interesting.
Aye. Well, with all the fellas doing port battles and what... that's going to be a real problem for the rest of the people just sailing around. They won't be able to get sailors to crew their boats.
Yeah, exactly.
Seem to be missing something.
And get your oars out.
I'm a canoe!
Okay, probably shouldn't have shut all the sails off. That was probably not the best idea. What about yourself? How do you tool your ships up for capping? I mean, do you run?
It depends what I'm doing. I tool them up either for capping or for shooting. I like to keep the enemy guessing as to what they're going to find on the Banshee when they get there. Yeah. Because sometimes, you know, when you're going out to cap things, you're doing it to make money and steal, and that's great. And sometimes you're doing it to be, you know, you're sandbagging. It's a trap. And so when that fella comes in his snow to do battle with you, you're all armed to the teeth with guns and all sorts of things you need for shooting, and you just tear him a new hull. Yeah, your powder monkeys and your accesses and stuff. Aye.
What about the boarding mini game? What do you reckon to that as it stands?
That definitely needs an overhaul. I mean, I like the sounds that play in the background, but other than that, there's no live action to it. It's just rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah. It's a tricky one to imagine how they could do it well, isn't it?
Aye. I think if you go more with like the the real-time strategy thing, like make a little World of Warcrafty where you see the guys on the deck and you give them little orders and they run around and slaughter people, might bring a little life to it.
Yeah, even if behind it's rock, paper, scissors, they need to make
Aye.
it look a bit spiffier, eh?
A visual. I want to see dead men on the deck.
I think we all do, don't we?
Arr.
And what about... do you guys... I mean, is there a place for trading beyond stealing goods? Do you think there should be a different set of trading goods or whatever? What's your thoughts?
I think so. Back in the closed alpha, when you could have 3 accounts for the purposes of testing,
Yeah.
I had me pirate, Pagan Pete, but I also had a trader. And it was a lot of fun. You go out relaxing, you play this mental game of where you're going to buy your goods and ship them to where. And the fact that you were neutral and you could go to any port was very valuable. And I think that might actually take care of some of the resource problem that we have in game. And that it'll get people who want to make a large amount of money, and that's what they're into. They just go around to the various ports and spread around their goods.
So that's a good cross into one of the other things that they're talking about doing in the near future is this diplomacy with where you get rights for voting in your nation and the likes. How do you see that working out?
I think that's a good idea. I don't think you can have every nation at war with every other nation at the same time. It gets a bit awkward.
In Pirate World, should that work even down at the clan level?
Well, if they redo the pirate mechanic so that we're actually pirates and not a nation with a black flag, you wouldn't need it for us.
No, but it would sort of... I mean, I guess pirates would be at war with everybody all the time, wouldn't they? I'm just wondering if there should be something to support sort of intra-pirate wars.
Well, historically speaking, pirates didn't fight each other. They used to have big parties when they got together, including, orgies and drinking, and they put on plays and did mock trials where they hanged each other for piracy and such. The only case of actual pirate-on-pirate violence was Blackbeard versus Stede Bonnet, who was just a crazy fellow with lead poisoning, who thought he was a pirate. Blackbeard ran across him and said, "Give me your ship." And Stede Bonnet's crew was over the hill. They're like, "Oh, thank God, a real pirate. This guy's going to get us all killed."
So I'm probably not seeing an orgy patch in the near future.
Probably not, but if they had like a little tavern with some, cheerful noises would be all right.
Yeah, so the port interface will be interesting to see if they go for more the sort of virtual town or just a prettier set of screens. That's an area I'm not quite sure how they'll go. Anything else you want to chuck in or tell us about yourself or the clan, Pagan?
Well, let's see. One thing I'd like to see is lighthouses. That would be nice.
Would they be to help with navigation and
to help with navigation? There's a lot of fellas out there who one of their biggest problems is navigation.
Yep.
And a sextant would be a great thing to have. A ship's clock would be a great thing to have. Lighthouses. And, the enhanced port interface where you have, if you want to buy lumber, you go to the lumber yard, etc.
Yeah.
And a tavern for instead of just this little tab at the bottom for the chat where you actually get to go into a tavern and see what everyone's doing. Would be nice.
Yeah, that's not... What about officers on ships who bring different benefits? I mean, I was even thinking you could hire a navigator and every period of time they could give you a sextant reading that would give you, based on their level, a proximity of where you are or some such thing.
Which is accurate based on their skill. I know that officers are coming in the future, and I think that's a great idea.
And
I don't know exactly how they're going to do it. Like a boatswain would actually be responsible for crew discipline, and which makes a big difference on the ship's morale. So they'd get more morale in combat and boarding and whatnot.
Yeah.
First officer as well. The gunnery officer is obviously very important.
Yeah, absolutely, and also perhaps something to help you with... I'd like to see a captain have some sort of esteem that helps with, or doesn't help with, recruitment, depending on the lights. And that could be a good piratey things, because my understanding is pirates, it was their sort of captain's individual capabilities that drew a crew to him or her.
Oh, aye.
There was only one her, I think. But yeah, anything else, Squire?
I don't have nothing else. It's just for anyone interested in joining Captains of the Black Flag, we're looking for the. If you're a role player, great. If you're not, not a problem. TeamSpeak is not required. It's helpful.
Yeah.
And you can visit us on the forums under the Naval Action forums and read our accords there. We only have 8 rules. And pretty easy to be a pirate under us. A lot of fellas seem to enjoy being us because we don't lose a lot of members, which is nice.
Yeah, no, it sounds like a good fun clan, I have to say. And if I was ever expelled from the Empire, perhaps it's somewhere I could seek refuge.
Oh, matey, you want to throw off the shackles of tyranny and join the free life.
Those shackles, sir, is what keeps order amongst men.
Well, see, that's where us pirates are different. We have an agreed-upon set of rules called the Accords that creates harmony among the ship.
I used to live in the north of England, mate. Not everyone can be a thief. Someone has to buy the first TV for someone else to nick it.
I suppose that's true.
It's pesky Spanish. Right, well, look, Pagan Pete, thank you very much. That was a very interesting talk, quite different than I think some of the other clans operate. So thank you very much for your time, sir.
Thank you for your time, and if you're still got a bit, I could use a tow back to port.
Don't worry, I'll send some of my chaps on over to your ship to give you a hand.
Much appreciated.
So thanks very much. This is Jeheil signing off. I hope you enjoyed the interview. If you did, give us a like, cop us a subscribe, and I will see you on the ocean, and I will catch you.